What is going on, Nitro gang? Thank you all for joining me here on Saturday Night Nitro. I am attempting to try out a new view for this particular video. So you guys let me know if the clarity, the quality, the point of view is good, or should I go back to how things used to be? Sometimes in life, you have to go back to where you started, but sometimes you have to move forward. Well, if you all were there to check out today's video on this particular T-maxx, you would have seen it ran, I would say, a little average. I'll get down to that in a little bit. What matters is we got a Nitro. We got Pinker RC, how you doing? Rocky Mountain Basher, Chef Beardsley. I was in Chef Beardsley's stream today in the morning, everybody. He does them when he wakes up before he does his breakfast for killing, if you know what I'm talking about. Hopefully, I'll be able to join Chef Beardsley's stream in the near future. They had a great discussion today regarding the new overpriced sandrail from Traxxas. Now, maybe I'll talk a little bit about that sandrail. I'm not an expert. I'm an expert in reviving old Nitros, and that is just okay with me. We got my buddy Nitro J over here. How you doing? Jacksonville Jet Riders, Rory Holler, Nitro Pimp, who had a significantly adventurous day himself today, I must say. He picked up more Nitros than I have fingers, but only fingers on my hands, okay? Not including the, toes, depending if you call those fingers or not. We got all aspects. How you doing, my dude? Dylan Seabird, Big Boys Toys is here right on time. He was one of the first, along with Channel Mod, Lotus RC. If I missed anyone, I am sorry, but I will go back to you guys. So this might not be a very long stream. I will tell you, bros, this video today, it wasn't a live. It was more or less a live premiere, just, trying it out. Was it successful? Probably not. Do I care? No. We got Joe Fox. How are you, man? Joshua Dulaney is here. He goes, count me in. I've been running T-maxxes. Well, just maxes the last 2 days. What kind of max? Traxxas has so many max names now, dude. I don't know what my first or last name is anymore, to be honest with you. Now, I just did some research on these shocks. If you guys want, I could show you the Integy website. Maybe nobody cares. I honestly used to be one of those fellas that didn't care. But now, I don't know. I'm having second thoughts. Maybe these Integy shocks are not as trash as people always expected them to be. How you doing there, Grandma Vic? Hope you're having a good Saturday night out there. Now, there's actually multiple versions of these Integy shocks, and I looked it up. These, in particular, happen to be the most expensive. I have a website going. Let me take a look at it right now. These are called the Super Duty MSR5. It sounds like a bacterial infection, if you ask me. MSR5. Or a gang. Right? Sounds like a gang or a bacterial infection. The question is, what the hell is wrong with them? You guys saw the way this thing ran today. We have any opinions? Go ahead. I'm going to read your comments right here. For those of you that might have checked out this video, I will tell you what I think needs to be done. First of all, it will include some shock oil, of course, because this thing had less shock oil than a Honda Civic has horsepower, if you all know what I'm talking about. Tony Ferraro, how you doing, man? Yes, my birthday is Monday, but this probably will be the last stream, before birthday actions go down. We got KGM5512. How you doing, man? Mark Nugent is here. If you guys saw the picture today I just posted, I had a pretty much fabulous day. I don't know. I'm not too happy about this view, guys. I might change it up. The reason I picked this view is there's less vibrations. Now, sometimes in life, vibrations sink boats. Other times, they make you happy in motels. And other times, they give you a headache. You pick which time you like the best. So, I'm going to read what Nitro J said. The MSR8 are bigger. They may be discontinued. I'm looking at the website right now in stock. If you guys want, I'll show you a quick look because, in fact, these are actually their most impressive line of shocks. I thought these were just some more fake piggyback shocks, but no. These external caps are coolant heat sinks. Well, not coolant, they're just called heat sinks. I used the incorrect word. So yeah, we have physical heat sinks on these shocks. The problem is, I would say it needs a little shock tuning. Shock coil is a little on the devastatingly low side. JP's RC, how are you, man? So this is the T-maxx. Everyone just joining up from today's live premiere video. It ran, I would say, average. It could have ran better, but it didn't run that bad. Let me take a little second here, go to the comments, and we'll get to the repairs, everybody. Trying out a new camera angle point of view. I'm not sure if I'm too happy about it, but things got to get done, you know. So let me turn it around, and I'm not afraid to hide like some individuals out there. There we go. Okay. So yes, I ran this one today. You guys saw there were a couple situations going on. You know, it was just kind of the preliminary, really first test drive. The most obvious thing, I'm not going to go through it too much. The slipper clutch was loose. I came home. The slipper clutch is now nice and tight. You know, just kind of an oversight. Sometimes you're a little excited to go run something and, well, you'll notice that the most simplest mistake you actually haven't even checked, bro. You haven't even checked. All aspects goes. I like that blue bar. And some people don't like it. So this is actually a pretty rare roll bar. I think this was from New Era. Probably a New Era roll bar. This is a functional roll bar because it literally ties in to pretty much structural points on the chassis. Believe it or not, the reason that this cooling head isn't completely scratched. James Simrold, how are you, man? The reason this cooling head isn't completely scratched on all T-maxxes is because of the roll bar. So this is, in fact, quite a functional roll bar. And at the time, it would have been not a cheap unit. And today, good luck finding it. New Era is a pretty great brand. They made a lot of upgrades. They made a lot of modification kits type of stuff. I had some of their chassis upgrades for a Terra Crusher at the time. Now, this particular truck, you know, you guys might all know, I'm not a big fan of too much aluminum. It's kind of unnecessary. I might actually convert the rear skid plate. The rear skid plate is real trash, if you ask me. Drivetrain otherwise looks okay. Now, in terms of the run, I'm just going to give my overall impression. I think it hit the 2-speed, but there was no audible shift sound. I think because the slipper clutch was extremely loose, so, you know, once it hits the 2-speed, it probably just, either way, I couldn't hear it. I'm going to have to diagnose it again. Today, it had some other stuff going on. I couldn't run this one again today, but the video on this one came out in the morning. If you guys want to see, it's a fairly popular video. It seems like the T-maxx could either be killed, destroyed, or made any worse than it ever was by anyone else that ever owned it, other than this one. Okay, so we're going to talk about the shocks and all that stuff in a little bit. I want to take a little time and show you these particular Integy shocks as they are shown on the Integy website. Now, I know over the years, Integy has gotten a real bad name. Me personally, I would not spend the money on Integy at all, but somebody did. And no matter what, even bad parts are great when they're on a Nitro. That's just kind of the reality. So if you guys want, I'll take a quick look at the Integy parts. I'm going to start beginning to work on it. We got Nitro Jamie. How you doing, man? So yeah, I would say this roll bar is Mark DiVincenzo. How you doing? Also not a fan of Integy. Yeah, I wouldn't say I'm a fan. I'm also not really a hater of Integy. It's one of those things where if it's on the truck, it's on the truck, right? But RPM, in terms of spending money and on upgrades, RPM is what you want. But who knows? Maybe this guy didn't know. I don't know. This thing was in a real sorry, sad state when I got it. I did include a couple pictures in the video today, so you guys saw You know, we took this whole thing apart on a stream. In fact, yeah, I'm going to say I took it all apart. I don't want to say we. You know, it's a good idea to talk about yourself in the first person. The first, I would say, observation of mental disorders is when people call themselves we. Okay, so I understand we're all in a group here, but at the end of the day, refer to yourself in the first person. You don't want mental disorders, okay? You start doing groupthink type of things, and then before you know it, you make policies in government, and then every single federal judge shoots your policy down because you think everything you say is gold because you're surrounded by people that are just yes men. Well, guys, I got 0 yes men. Okay, Melissa, she says no 88% of the time to me. Mix RC, how you doing? All right, so let's rearrange. I'm going to take a look online at the shocks. By the way, you can get one of these, but better than this. This is like the old 2.5 model with the OS engine, but I did put a link to the proper 3.3. I'm telling you, if you want a monster truck, the T-maxx is the way to go. That's right, KGM here knows that Seinfeld episode where Jimmy talks in the third person. Don't talk about yourself in the third person. It's not attractive, okay? It's not really even a mentally sane thing to do, to be honest with you. We got Supreme Capone. How are you, man? I know JP's RC had a good time. He has been promoted. You guys want to know what his promotion is? The VP of the buggy division. Okay, so JP's RC, the VP of the buggy division, that's you. I actually have a spreadsheet with people's names right now. There's about 15 of all the people that are certain VPs of certain divisions. We got boats. We got trucks. I think there's one for XTM. There's one for Savage as well, of course. You know, there was a lot of competition for the Savage. But Savage guys, man, I gotta tell you, they like to compete together. I just like to have a lot of Savages. I don't like to compete at all. So let me flip it over. So we are on the stream. How you all doing? Don't mind my tabs. We got Ben Martinez. How are you, bro? And Grizzly RC Skillet Man. How you doing, mate? I think you're from the UK, if I'm not mistaken. I love your Top Gear shows. I love Fish and Chips. And I love Nitro Gang viewers. So you and everybody else are always welcome, guys. So I'm going to take a look at these shocks. I pulled up the website for Integy, right? Because, yeah, these shocks on this particular truck are quite expensive. In fact, I was absurdly surprised. Sorry, Nitro Pimp got a couple Savages today. I think Nitro Pimp might be the overall VP of variety, to be honest with you. So let's take a look at what it says. Because, you know, we don't want to put down shocks that are actually quite impressive. So, you know what? Let me go back and take a look at the other options that they have for Integy. So this is, you know, I just did a search for T-maxx shocks, whatever. There are a good amount of shocks. So it looks like these are, well, these are for sledge. We don't got no sledge, thank God. They do have, yeah, these are big shocks for the sledge. So these are 8-scale shocks. Don't look at them. But in general, I think they're common shocks that people had over the years were these. I'm going to click it, see what it pops up. No, MSR5. So these are out of stock. This must be the old school model MSR5. Let me see what the difference is. I don't really know. Okay, so I could already see the MSR5. Titanium coated shock shafts, actually. There is no heat sink on the oil reservoir. So that appears to be what it is. $95. The ones we have are these. MSR5. Sounds like a disease. What's up, Northeast Mods and everybody? Thank you guys for joining me here today. So I'm going to read this. Let's zoom in real good. I want people to actually learn something, not speak about themselves in the third person, please. All right? I'm going to read this. This is our latest heavy-duty shock for the T-maxx. Super heavy-duty damping action. Piggyback contains real shock oil reservoir. Internal volume compensation allows you to land big jumps. built-in heatsink that keeps oil temperature consistent, 3.5 millimeter shock shafts, stronger plastic rod ends, and spring retainer design to work with the optional progressive springs. Blah, blah, blah. Standard 2-hole. The rest I'm not going to read, really. We got the Nitro Addiction. How you doing, man? Happy to see you here. If possible, could Lotus RC drop the Nitro Addiction's channel link? He's one of the guys out there that is consistent, that is strong, that really loves and supports this hobby. Nitro Addiction has more nitros on the floor than people have couches in their house. Or should I say water bottles? Yeah, because people have a lot of water bottles, you know, especially the doomsday preppers. You guys know what I'm saying? If you're a doomsday prepper, you probably have like 2,000 water bottles, right? Well, he got more nitros. Okay, anyway. So that's kind of the look at these shocks. So let's not trash talk these shocks. These are proper, expensive shocks. And they cost like maybe like 20 cases of water, depending if you're drinking Poland Spring or like your local purified crap, okay? Depends. Water is water, baby. So let's get down to the T-maxx. I'm going to show you the current suspension right now, and we will take a look at it, guys, all right? I appreciate you all being here. Melissa says hello.
Hi, guys.
That was the fastest hi ever. Somebody would think you don't even like them. All right. So we're back to the truck. I would say it's not the best suspension. Now, I didn't do any tuning when I got this, right? So check it out. It looks okay, but the rebound is too fast. In fact, if you saw today's video, you would see when I was accelerating, it was squatting like Whistling Diesel's diesel truck. Now, you know, I wanted to put the name squatting or squatter in the title, but I don't want to bring attention to things that are outside of this particular truck, right? When you have enough information in your brain, you can talk about the topic and not veer, of course, too much. So I am missing one of the heat sinks, but the rest of them are here. So I think it's about high time to disassemble some of the shocks. Now, the bad part, how you doing there, Richard B? Happy to see you here, man. So what do you guys think? Remove these two front shocks first? I mean, you know, I don't really need advice here that much, but it's always good to be a team, considering I am not thinking of myself in the third person. So, you know, I'm not going to say things like, what are we going to do? I'll look at the comments and say, what do you recommend I do? You like that? I think that's smart. That is smart. All right. I'll be honest with you, the roll bar is funny looking, but it's actually very functional. All right. So yeah, I would highly recommend you guys pick up a T-maxx like this, like a 3.3 model, using any of the links. I put a link for it, and this OS21, they're actually on sale right now. Really, really easy to run engine. And if you saw, I was using the Traxxas pull starter on it. Good news is you could actually run like a regular $20 pull starter on this engine, so you're not gonna have any kind of situations. You know what I'm saying? Let me check my Facebook. I'm actually trying to make a deal by tomorrow. Let's see if this guy responded to me. We got no response. Trying to make a deal for tomorrow over here, but we got no response yet. Maybe today it'll come in, maybe it won't come in. Who knows? If it doesn't, I'll find something else, right? At the end of the day, we're just out here occupying time until the paint sets in. And that is the most literal truth right there. I mean aging. All right, the Nitro Addiction goes tomorrow. The Baja will be a runner. That's awesome, man. I can't believe you took it down to the spare parts. I've never seen anyone go that hardcore on it. That's pretty impressive. You know, I've disassembled parts of the Baja, but never down to literally every component like you. But now, you know, I could say you promoted yourself to Baja expert within like a day. So let's start taking off the front shocks. So we'll take a look at them, and I'll try to see if we could do a little oil adding. Now, it's pretty much a lot of oil, so I'm just going to top it off. Hopefully the top off will just be sufficient. All right. Nitro Addiction going to be live at noon. That's what I'm doing. Unless I have you know, an RC deal or I get stuck at Costco or something. All right, so the first shock. I'm also thinking it's a little bit too much suspension travel because it's a little too high. I don't know. Maybe I should adjust where the shock position is. We'll see. We'll see. Let me remove this and I'll check the... Yeah, this one needs a little bit of love over here. I would say it's all spring and no dampening. RC Big Bore Manic, how you doing? He goes, I built a 71cc RC Max Baja, 70 mile per hour wheelies. That's a proper build right there. That is a top dollar build, man. That's very impressive. That's very impressive. What kind of wheels are you running on those? Those grippy, like I guess foamless tires people run with those spikes? All right, removing the shock. The problem is, I don't really want to remove the rear shock. It's kind of tough to get to the screw. The geometry's all bad. So I'm going to do the two for now in the front, and I'll see how it is with that alone. Okay. Here's the shock itself. Seems to be somewhere over here. Yeah, it's because the spring itself was not seated correctly on the collar. All right, I'm going to hold this a little to the side. I'm going to remove the other shock now, and we'll do two at a time. We good with that, everybody? Oh, it's leading, like whistling Diesel's truck. Yeah, the screws are also not straight anymore, but it's okay. It's no big deal. I hope often a guy is out there. I know he likes to work late, make welds great at night. Guy must have really good vision. But often a guy I know is a big channel supporter of both me, Nitro Addiction, some other people out there. So shout out to you, man. All right. Let me just check how this is a little bit. All right, this one actually has normal oil in it. Yeah, I can hear the rebound. It's not terrible. Woogie, how you doing, man? So this one seems to have average oil. Yeah, so these are like $130 shocks right here. All right, so I'm going to move this around and we'll start to just disassemble the shocks little by little. I'm not guaranteeing I'll do all of it, but I'll do some. Some is better than zero, you know what I'm saying? Right, let me just clean them up a little bit, guys. It's not a very action-packed live, but it's one that needs to be done. I had shock oil on the table. Where'd it go? Oh, it fell right here. Yeah, just one of the process steps. I'm going to take this one apart first. So for those of you that might not know, this truck was, I got it used. It was fairly terrible condition when I got it. Probably some of the worst. It was disassembled, you know, everything was off. But like I like to say, you really can't, usually, right, most OS engines are okay. Tarek, how you doing, man? Happy Saturday to you. I sent you a little pic there earlier of what was going down. And today, guys, I was running a Nitro Rustler and a mini bike, the gas mini bike. Good news is, I let about 2 people run it. And nobody killed themselves, okay? The good news. So these wheels appear to be painted. They are not black. I don't. They're not. You know, they never had black wheels. Yeah, these are just painted wheels. This is the T-maxx from today's video. I have fixed some of the issues. The slipper. Let me give you all a catch up. The slipper clutch was like hella loose. The clutch is fine now. Turns out my battery was bad, so I put in a brand new receiver battery. The brakes could be okay, but the worst offender was the suspension. That thing was just squatting. It was hard to run. But the good news is the reverse was real good. I think the 2-speed did engage, but with the loose slipper clutch, you really couldn't tell. We got Lasso Kid. How are you, man? I appreciate all your comments on my videos. Yeah, this one has nothing. It's toast. Yeah, we got no oil. So I'm going to clean this up a little. We're going to open it up. Take a look at what makes the most expensive Integy shocks what they are here today. Right? And keep in mind, I'm not a shock expert. Just a guy with an old pair of shocks. You know, we got a lot of couch advice going around these days. People competing to claim they are the supreme knower of it all. Well, I'm going to say it right now. I'm not the supreme knower of it all. And that's fine with me. It's like the question, how much of everything can you possibly know? Go ahead. How much of everything can you possibly know? Think about it. You see, that's an interesting question. Because the way the human brain works is it compartmentalizes and prioritizes certain things you learn over your lifetime and stores other elements into long-term memory that is tough to retrieve. You guys know about that? Well, that's the way it works. That means you can't really ever answer the question, how much of everything do you know? There was a debate I watched a while ago. You know, I like intellectual conversation, you could say. And the person claimed it was about knowing things, they know everything, or, you know, there's whatever. But the fact is, if you don't know the bucket of everything, then you don't know how much of everything you might be able to know. Right? It's like a neurosurgeon, a brain doctor. Let's say a neurosurgeon. They're obviously an expert in that field. Am I correct? Yes, they are. How much of the internal workings of the human body and the brain do you think a neurosurgeon knows, percentage-wise? Now, yes, Gary Rosenquist, how you doing, man? Gary knows that Van Damme is tough. That is true, bro. That is true. The fact is, okay, I got to disassemble this. You don't know because you don't know the bucket of facts. There is more information in a glass of water, I think, than any computer system in this world will be able to store. Does anybody want to explain what I mean by that? And that is a fact. So, my statement is, Monty Kriska, how you doing? All right, if nobody's enjoying intellectually honest conversations, then I'm going to cut it out. Okay, let me open this up from the top. Got to clean it. My statement is, there is more binary bit data. Let's say you organized the contents of even this spring. Okay, if you decoded this spring into binary code, Jose Velasquez, how you doing, man? Just rebuilding these expensive Integy shocks. These are MSR5, $130 shocks. Anyway, if you decoded and rearranged into binary bit code, zeros and ones, the information of the particles in this spring, this would require more data than any computer system in terms of terabytes has to offer today. The reason is, you would need to know the relationship of every electron, every neutron, every proton, every muon, every subatomic particle, and how it relates to other particles in this metal spring. Also, just this little fuzz in real life, just this little fuzz has a ton of data in it. Why does it matter? You know, I find that it's interesting to look beyond your horizon in terms of understanding. When you think things are just black and white, you don't have a very fun life, guys. I'm sorry, you don't. When you think of things that are there, that you aspire to learn, you will be in awe. And the mundane will no longer do it for you. All right, anyway, that's enough. Make sense, everybody? If not, go look it up. It's a sickening lecture. Got to remove this. Yeah, there's a good amount of rust over here, but like really it doesn't travel that far, so it don't matter. So I need a. Nope, that's not gonna work. Oscar Quenda, how you doing, man? I saw Oscar today pulling out his OFNA LD3. Now that is something I could appreciate. Trying to disassemble this, but I didn't bring the correct tools. Yo, Melissa, I'm gonna need a pipe wrench. Do you mind, Boo? Melissa, Boo, I need a pipe wrench. Can you go downstairs? Tarek, I think Tarek over here agrees with what I said. It's logical. It's logical. All right? And I'm going to tell you something. A deeper understanding of what is around you will fulfill you in more ways than one. I don't hear Melissa moving. Melissa, Van Dam is downstairs. Go meet him. Melissa, go open the cabinet and get me a pipe wrench. It's the big-ass wrench. It's metal. All right, she's not talking to me right now. She must be listening to Van Dam's voice. Oh, she's here. Okay, thank God. Okay. All right, she's about to come down. Pretty tight O-ring. No signs of leaks, but that's probably because they're all leaked out already. It's in the utility closet by the laundry room, you know, like in the hallway. It's a big-ass pipe wrench. I hear her making noises. Some of those noises like, I'm gonna punch this guy, man. Don't be doing that, Boo. Don't be doing that. I'm waiting on a deal to go through today. Maybe the deal will go down. So far, no response. So far. But it doesn't mean there won't be one. Tomorrow could be a Nitro road trip. I just need like big-ass pliers, babe. Big-ass pliers. It ain't that difficult. I'm gonna try holding it like this. Nah, it's not gonna work. Oh, hold on, I got it. But if you still see them, you can bring it, okay? I got it, I can't believe it. I got it, everybody. Let's take a look inside. All right, so there is the shock oil reservoir. You could see there's a good amount of dirt in there. I'm gonna try to get the light on it a little better for us all. Oh yeah, there's zero shock oil in there. That's negative shock oil. It has left into the other side of the universe. It expanded into the other side. I have a couple options. I don't know. You guys think I should clean all this or just like put the shock oil and call it a day? I'm just gonna put the shock oil for now, I think. There should be like a big pipe wrench. You know, it's like when you want to grab a churro but you don't want to hold it, you get a pipe wrench. She said she don't see it. Sickening. All right, so there's the hole for the shock oil. Hold on a hot second. There's no cap on this reservoir. That's why it had no shock oil. This shock is toast. I'm not going to be able to use this shock. I just discovered it. Yep. It's okay, boo. This shock is messed up anyway. Yeah, the heatsink is missing, but I don't really care about the heatsink. The cap is missing. Well, that's why this one's toast. I might have other Integy shocks, everybody. You want me to go take a look? All right, so they're called channel locks. You know, the thing is, I'm not a plumber, so yeah, I don't own like actual locking channel locks, so I just call it a pipe wrench. Barncat, how you doing, man? I have other aluminum Integy shocks. I could go downstairs and take a look if you guys want me to do that, but you know, I don't want to lose the viewers while I leave. So just for that, we're going to put a nice OS engine over here. Maybe it'll motivate some people. Oh, those are still called channel locks, but the thing is, if they don't lock, why are they called channel locks? Okay. CK, nah, thank you, man. I appreciate you being here. All right, I'm going to have to travel downstairs, everybody. So just chill out here. Enjoy the T-maxx. And I'm going to go look at whether I can get another cap like that. Good with you? All right. Pizza Nitro, how you doing, man? Yo, Melissa, can you keep him entertained? I'm back. So you're telling me these are called channel locks? There's no locking mechanism here. There's just an adjustable pipe wrench. I mean, I'll call it what it's called, but like, as far as I know, these are just an adjustable pipe wrench. So. Ryan Wood, how you doing, man? All right, so this is what I got over here. I got a spare. This is a Savage Integy shock, right, with the same setup. Yeah, channel lock is, first of all, a brand name. That's what I was thinking too, Jim. I'm wondering if these will be the same. It's possible they're exactly the same. Yeah, I think all I would really need, if it's the same, is that cap. What do you guys think? Anybody ever dealt with this? I mean, it appears to be, I hope it's the same piece. It appears to be, well, I could tell the machining is a little bit different on the on the ends. This is kind of beveled. This is just flat cut. But that's the piece I'm missing, it appears. Yeah, this one has no shock oil either. All right, I'm going to try to, I guess, undo this. We'll see what happens. Joshua Delaney goes, what's the cheapest kind of meat? Generally ground beef. Ground beef is going to be your cheap. Ryan Wood, yes, very, very shocking. You know, I don't want to get bogged down by names. All I know is I'm not a plumber. Therefore, for me to know the name of, you know, tools used to grab flat objects, not that important. But I am happy to learn when people tell me what things are called. All right, here we go. I'm going to put this into Google AI. Tell me what this is called. We're going to see what it comes up with. It's going to say wrench. I just call it a wrench. All right. So the question is, I mean, I could theoretically just use this purple reservoir, or I could just take these parts off. Let me see how easy. That might not be easy. I don't know. I didn't even think this was sorted that way. All right, let me just see if there's a... No, this appears to be a decorative part, to be honest with you. I don't know if this is removable. Anybody know if this is removable? No Music RC, man. How you doing? This does not appear to be removable. What I'm going to do is going to be a real subjective thing going down. I'm not really a big fan of messing with shocks, honestly. Okay, so it is turning. It is turning. If this part alone fits, I'll be okay. Nitro Pimp goes, put the purple shock on it. I'm not sure if, well, first of all, this one's real dirty, you know. This does not appear to be the same. Plus, like, this T-maxx has nothing purple on it. But I'm going to see if this part alone is what I need. Okay. Well, we're about to find out, guys. Plus, I'll still maintain, you know, the purple look, so there's really no point in putting those Savage shocks on it. All right. We're about to find out. It appears to be the same. It appears to be the same. But notice on this one, it sticks all the way flat out on, well, no, it's the same. It's because I'm missing this, this part over here. You know what? If I'm able to slide this off, I might do that later on. I promise Melissa today wouldn't be a long stream, okay? It's kind of our night, guys. Kind of our night. Yo, Melissa, they miss you. How you doing there, Grim Mako? Let me tighten this up. I mean, so far the repair is, I've learned a couple things. The fact that this is extremely difficult to grip. All right, got it real tight. All right, there's definitely nothing coming through that. So one little solution has been solved. Well, found. You can't solve a solution. You could only find a solution. Am I right about that? Yeah, you can't solve a solution. You can only find a solution. This part, I guess I could try to take it off. I don't know if it's the same. But it looks clean so far, right? I'm going to keep it. My goal is just to get it to actually dampen. I don't need it to be perfect. Let me clean this up a little bit. Yeah, this entire shock is real dirty. Normally I would wash them all, but this is kind of, you know, I have to get it done right now. Nitro, Vintage Nitro World, thank you, man. Yep, John Hensley goes, oh boy, there's another OS engine. You know, you got to put an OS engine for good luck. It's kind of like how I see it lately. It never fails. All right, just pulled this out of the shock. Question is, will it be okay still? All right, guys, I'm going to fill it up, all right? I'm going to use 50. I like a pretty high dampening. I'm not sure. What is the stock dampening oil, shock oil on the T-maxx? Maybe 30? I'm only going to do the two front. The rears, I don't know if I'm going to do on video or not. Guys, can I get a yeah for the stream, okay? Gary goes, is OS better than LRP? Yeah, OS is basically the top of the hill over there. OS is, you know, it's like a good comedian versus David Hasselhoff. Get it? Because he's not a comedian. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, HBI Savage, how are you, bro? Happy to see you here. I'm just, you know, dealing with Integy shocks, learning a little thing here. Damn, this bottle is almost impossible to squeeze. All right, Josh Crow, what's up, man? Riot Wood, appreciate you guys. Let me see where we're at. Not full, obviously, but all right, well, it's needless to say I need a lot more shock oil. Damn, this shock takes a lot of oil. And we haven't even gotten to the reservoir. I don't know if I'm going to bleed the reservoir, to be honest with you. I know you're supposed to bleed the reservoir, too. All right. Move it up and down. You know, there's obviously good instructions on this somewhere, but I'm not going to that hardcore level right now. I'm just trying to assemble the shock just so it don't look funny while running. By the way, I know Just Joe over here got himself a sickening shock oil bleeder. He sent me a clip of it the other day. I might load it up. All right. So we're going to see. I mean, I know you got to, I don't know how you would put shock oil in there, to be honest with you, but I think the best thing to do is to fill it up all the way and then put the cap on. I mean, technically it should be, I don't know if these do not appear to be self-bleeding. There's no cap anywhere on top. Well, we're going to find out. Well, I mean, I'm going to find out. What I say, don't talk about yourself in third person. All right. All right, it's pretty tight. Let me see how it's going to function. All right, it's honestly much smoother. I think at this point it probably forced some shock oil into the reservoir. It's probably a good idea to remove this. It might be a little too tight. The dampening is a little crazy now. Probably needed 40 weight shock oil. 50 is a little high, I think. So we'll see, guys. What do you think? You think it pushed some of the oil into the reservoir? Ryan Wood goes, build a twin max over winter. Well, man, I would, but you know what? That goal has already been accomplished by Lotus RC. You should go to his channel. He built a twin engine T-maxx. All right, so let me undo this. We will take a look if some of the oil has just bled itself into the reservoir. It feels like it has. Well, no, it has not. Maybe I had to do it upside down. I still have the same amount of shock oil. You guys have any suggestions how to get that oil? Maybe it's supposed to be like that. Maybe I should have done it upside down. How do you bleed Integy shocks is the question. Somebody asked that ChatGPT. I'm going to try it upside down. All right. Okay, Nitro Pimp goes, no oil goes in the caps. Well, I should have read that before. All right. Well, good news is I don't see any crazy oil on the shock shaft itself. All right, looks like I'm done. Let me open it up. We'll check again after what I just did. It might have been a mistake, but whatever. I'm not embarrassed to make mistakes, guys. All right, so it appears a good portion of it actually did go into this reservoir when I did upside down it. No big deal. We're going to just refill it. So, yeah, a good portion did go in. That's a discovery. That was a discovery right there, everybody. Whether it's good or bad, we're going to find out the next time I run it. I mean, so far the servicing is actually pretty good. All right, it's pretty tight. This is not going to be, let me check it out. Yeah, it actually feels smoother now. Probably no rebound like you would expect in a regular shock. All right, I see you guys are talking about whether you can use 3-in-1 oil instead of shock oil and instead of shock oil. Not a very good idea. First of all, you're really not going to save any money that much. Like, this is a pretty okay amount of oil. It's 2 ounces, right? I mean, it's about 50% more expensive, so it's not that much crazier. This is silicone oil. You need silicone oil because these use silicone O-rings. If you use 3-in-1, it has, correct me if I'm wrong, some elements that are rust inhibitors or corrosive materials, whatever the case is, but definitely not the qualities of silicone shock oil. You need silicone shock oil. Exactly. Petroleum eats rubber. You can't use a petroleum-based oil in something that has silicone seals. Just not a good idea. All right, I'm gonna put this back up. I mean, it seems like it's got dampening, so I'm content. All right, I'm gonna assemble it back. It's not the best looking spring, but a spring is a spring, guys. The spring is a spring. I would say the Traxxas shocks are smoother, but these, they don't look bad. It feels completely different. It feels much better, I would say, in my opinion, at this point now. Yeah, Big Boy Toys goes, you can get 4 ounces, which is double this, for about $10. They do sell bigger ones. You know, these are kind of made for like maybe 10 scale type stuff. I mean, you could still do an 8 scale truck one time with a bottle like this. This was purchased a long time ago. It was only $4. Modern shock oil, this would probably be like $9 or $10 though. This was very long ago. All right, so one shock is okay. I would say it's not 100%. It's probably 90% okay. Yeah, Joshua Delaney goes, that's one thing I'll say. The Traxxas shocks are very good. They're very good. It's good. It's not 100%, but this is ready to go back on the truck after this. Right, so I'm going to put it over here. I'm going to go, let's take a look at this shock. Yeah, this one rebounds way too fast. I'll show you the difference with the one I just finished and the one that needs oil. You could see this one has a much bigger delay. So that's what you want. Time for shock number 2, everybody. This one has the nice oil cooler in it. And notice this part is actually different in this model. The bottom of the cap, the reservoir cap. Let me just do a little check over here, everybody. Okay. Clean up the shock a little. And this is only 2 of them. There's 8 shocks. I don't know if I'm gonna do all 8. This is just you know, figuring it out. Good discovery I made there earlier though. Yeah, so this shock cap, it's not called a shock cap, it's a reservoir cap. It's very different. Yo, why isn't this RC guy I'm trying to make a deal with getting back to me? This guy's only job is to sell that car to me. Guy not doing it. He read it, responded, I asked him a question, and now he MIA. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. John, how are you, man? Happy to see you here. Well, John, this is the T-maxx from today's video. I'm just doing some shock repair maintenance. As you saw in the video from today, it was bouncing around all over like a nasty-looking squatter truck. I don't want a nasty-looking squatter truck. I want a desirable 2-speed Nitro. And that's what we're working towards. All right. John Hensey goes, what am I trying to buy? I'm going to disclose it to everybody. If you want to know, I will tell you. Unfortunately, I have some individuals out there that are just desirably trying to destroy my deals. Okay, they have it out for me. But that has been the reason that I have had to keep things to myself. But you know what? I could tell you. You want me to tell you? I'm going to take a minute and think about it. Well, this one isn't completely devoid of shock oil. There is some. I'm just going to refill it and call it a day. I don't have that much shock oil to like drain it. Obviously, it won't be the same because it's different quality shock oil. But, all right, Nitro Pimp, I'm going to spill it. It's an XTM X Factor. We just talked about it. But it's the XTM X Factor. I want to get it. It's not the best thing. Obviously, I'm not going to end up with the correct oil viscosity because, like, you know, half of it is old. But, you know, I don't need it to be 100%. Robert, how are you, man? But I would want an XTM X Factor. I know my buddy Ben has one. He might actually be selling it. So if anybody wants to buy the one from my video, that's his truck. Really well cared for. Oh, you see what I'm... This one has rebound. I'm a little confused now. How come this one has rebound and the other one did not? I didn't see any obvious issues on the shock. Anybody have any idea? There was no rubber bladder. There was no rubber seals. It wasn't like that. How come this one has immense rebound? It must be some kind of defect mistake. I don't think it's this part. You think that this part is causing that? Rock and Roller, how you doing, man? Just trying to figure out why we got shock rebound on this one. This is like very good. You filled the can on the other one. You want me to do the same on this one? HBI Savage, man, you have a great day. Tomorrow's Sunday. I know you got something up your sleeve. Something with a giant engine in it, that is. If you want me to check whether filling this up with oil will get rid of the rebound, I can do that. I think we're going to do it. So I'm going to put some oil into the other side. Right? This is basically what I did before. Only RC Nitros, how you doing? It still got rebound. That is odd. But we'll check how much I am left with. None of it went. Okay, so mystery not solved. The mystery has not been solved at all. I'm just going to close it back up and call it a day. None of it went over like it did on the other shock. The other shock must be somehow faulty. Maybe, I'm thinking, is it possible that this part that I swapped from the other shock is different? Maybe this part has the rubber bladder. Mini Mechanical, how you doing, man? Is it possible that this part has that rubber bladder that provides the rebound? I am not sure. It don't matter. It's not going to do much of a difference. I'm just going to assemble it because, like, the reality is it's a monster truck with, like, pretty, you know, there's a lot of other problems. I'm not too worried about it. Andy Barnett, how are you? I'm going to check it like how it is right now, actually. All that matters is once it's assembled, whatever. It still rebounds a little fast, but it's way better than before, I would say. This is just my preliminary fill. Yeah, this shock coil's too thick. This shock coil's too thin. I would need like an average between these both. That's real sickening. That is real sickening. I'm gonna have to order some 40 weight shock oil. Let me go check out how much it is. Thank you guys for joining me on a Saturday night here. Just doing some shock oil repairs. $40 weight shock oil. Yeah, it's about $10. That's normal. Yeah, $10 for TLR shock oil. Gonna make that buy later on. Here it is. But it's Grip Mako, man. Talk to you later. Thank you for stopping by for 40 weight. I would say 40. Man, they really go into colors. 37.5. Some pretty great shock oil. Yeah, it don't matter. It doesn't have to be 100. Oh, Grimako, I got you, man. Okay, you see, peace to the other homie. Okay, that's a good idea. That's good. All right, let's go back to this truck. I think I'm gonna get the 35. Yeah, the reason 35 is good is it's a good all-around mix. You could even use it for touring cars. Well, you're gonna have a little bit too soft suspension on that one, but for touring cars, you want something a little more dampening. This would be very good for like 10 scale touring cars, but for trucks that have like a real wide range of travel, such as this, you definitely want like something like 35. But it's a mystery with these shocks. I don't know what the deal is. All right, my dudes, I'm not gonna be here long today. Can I get a hell yeah and a like before we disappear into the night? I have studying to do, learning to achieve, and positivity to acquire. Don't forget pizza to eat, okay? Don't forget the pizza to eat, everybody. All right, guys, I appreciate you all. I'll be here for like maybe 1 to 2 more minutes and let you all say your goodbyes, hellos, and the ultimate question: how much of everything can you actually ever know? I believe you can never answer that question successfully. It's like if you walked into a store, there was a gumball machine, the classic gumball experiment. You walked into a store. There's a gumball. It's a giant machine of gumballs, right? You know two things for sure. They cause cavities. And the other thing for sure, you don't know whether it's odd or even. If I asked you a theoretical question on gumballs, what in this machine of gumballs figure, do you have a positive, do you have an even number, or do you have an odd number? What would you say? Does the gumball machine have an odd number or an even number? You can't ever know because you have a statistical chance of 1 out of 2, in which case you're wrong and in which case you're right. And that is all you could ever know about a gumball. But when it comes down to a nitro, what you know is whether you have an air leak or not. And on that, I bid you good night.